everyone and welcome to a Halloween special of the Blind Pinterest Challenge, also episode 36, where we recreate Halloween crafts from Pinterest without any instructions, because what's more terrifying than not knowing what's about to come? Couldn't think of anything worse. You might see a cute little Halloween craft and think, you know what, I can do that. And then you actually try and make it without knowing how to make it, and it all goes tits up. And that's what this series is all about. So let's try and find some spooky crafts.
He wants me. I can totally tell that he wants me.
I'm right here. You know I'm here, right?
Okay, so I think the first craft I want to try is this really cool skeleton bathing in a candle, which I think is a really clever idea. I think it's really fun. Also, I haven't done any candle making in like ages, and I don't know why. I actually quite enjoy making candles. So I think this will be quite fun, and I don't think much can go wrong. I've made candles in the past, and I don't think I've had too many disasters with them. Oh, what's happened to this? I think another one that's quite cool is this Halloween terrarium, and this just screams elegance and sophistication in my eyes. I think it looks really, really nice, and it's definitely not kind of kitchen tacky. I feel like Halloween decor is definitely bordering on kitchen tacky, which I love. I absolutely love it, by the way, but this just seems a little bit more classy, and I really enjoy it. I think it'll end up costing a lot of money. Terrariums do end up costing quite a bit of money, and there's a lot of stuff involved in it, but I think I can do it. I just hope I don't go bankrupt over it. Another one that I fancy is this skull art, and I'm assuming they've kind of stuck a skull onto a piece of canvas or something and then possibly laid tissue paper over it, something like that. I don't think it'll be too difficult. I think it's very effective. I think it's very spooky, and I think if you had this hanging up on your wall, it would just brighten the place up a little bit, wouldn't it? Really, really into it. I hope I can do it. And because all the other ones seem to be relatively serious kind of Halloween crafts, or bordering on serious Halloween craft, I thought I'd try something fun and do this little ghost in a frame Halloween decoration, and I think it's absolutely adorable. It's super cute. I find with Halloween, it either goes to the kind of really spooky, gory side, or the really kitsch tacky side.
Go ahead, do it again.
Or the super cute side. And this lands on the super cute side. It's really adorable, I love it. I think I will have to do a bit of hand painting with this, which I'm not particularly great at. I don't know, I'm gonna put some effort in for once in my life and really, really try and get exactly what they've done, because I really, really like this. I would happily have that on my wall year round, really. I think that's a year round decoration. It's not even just for Halloween. So I think that's all I want to do in today's Halloween special of the Blind Pinterest Challenge. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think I've picked a really good, fun group of crafts to try out. So I'll see you in a couple of weeks. We'll get our Halloween craft on. And just like that, I'm back. And I think we'll start off with the skeleton bathing in a candle. So I just purchased this plastic skeleton, which I didn't realise was going to be as big as it was, but I think it's fine. I think I'll make it work. And decided to chop that in half. Next up, I just took an old tea towel and chopped a section of this tea towel out and kind of wrapped it and hot glued it around the skeleton's head to try and make it look a little bit like a towel, as if they've just got out the shower or the bath. And I think I've done an alright job. I then secured the skeleton into a black dish with a bit of hot glue, just so it's not going to move around when I pour the wax in, and then finally attach 2 wicks to the other side of this candle pot, which isn't a candle pot, by the way. It's just a regular bowl I bought, which I think will work fine for a candle. Now it's time to melt some wax down, and I'm pretty sure the wax that I'm using is soy-based wax, but I could be wrong because I don't think it said what the wax was on the package, or if it did, I forgot to read it. You dickhead! It's one I already had lying around the studio. I'm almost certain it's soy wax, and once it was melted down, I thought I would put even more effort in and add some scent to this candle. Unfortunately, I didn't have any Halloweeny scents, or I couldn't find any Halloweeny scents, so I think I just grabbed the first one I could get, and I think I'm pretty sure I went for lavender. I then just poured my melted wax into this little dish, and unfortunately I had a little bit of a disaster with my pegs holding everything in place, and they kept falling inside. Oh. And yes, I was watching Tabitha Takes Over while I was making this. It's one of my favourite shows at the moment.
And you can lose that attitude with me, because let me tell you, it is not becoming, and you are not good enough at what you do.
Absolutely not.
To have that kind of attitude with me, and I will not tolerate it, and do not answer me back.
However, I also realised that I didn't melt down enough wax, so I need to repeat the same step again. And once I was happy with that, it was just time to let it all cool down and set. So we have expectation, and reality, and I think this is such a cool idea. I think it's absolutely fantastic. The arms still completely move, so I could obviously position them anywhere I want to, and I just think it's such a fun little idea. I absolutely love it. I think it's so cool. And I'm not just saying this either, I think mine looks slightly better than theirs. I don't know, I know mine's a little bit larger like the skeleton, so it's not in proportion, and my arms don't kind of wrap around the dish, but I don't know, I think mine has more character than theirs. And surprisingly, I don't think this actually cost me a lot of money. So in total, this Halloween candle cost me about £7 to make, which I don't think is bad at all. However, the only reason it cost me that little is because I already had the wax, I already had the wicks. The only thing I needed to buy for this was the little dish and the actual skeleton. I had everything else. If I didn't have all that, this would probably cost about £15 to £20. But I think if they were selling these in shops, you could easily get away with charging like 30 quid for it. I think so anyway. Now, one concern I do have with this mind is I personally wouldn't light this. And if I am going to light this, I am never ever going to leave it unattended, because the plastic can melt and set fire, the piece of fabric can catch fire, and this entire thing could end up burning your house down. If you are going to make something like this and put stuff in a candle, either just keep it for sure, like this, and never light it, or if you are going to light it, you better keep your eye on it. I swear down, you better. I'm telling you now.
Okay, Mom.
So now I thought we'd move on to the skull piece of artwork, and for this I bought a plastic skull and chopped it in half, the best I could, and then just hot glued it to a piece of canvas. The next step is basically what I said I was going to do in the first part of this video, and just glue some black tissue paper onto the surface of this skull and canvas. And this caused me way more chew than I thought it was going to. It was one of those things where it was definitely easier in your mind than what it was in reality. It was actually quite tricky. But once I was happy with that, I just put it to one side to let it set. So we have expectation and reality. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see that very well. It doesn't look too bad. It's definitely not as nice as theirs, but I think it looks quite interesting. I think mine's a lot darker than the original one. I don't know, I think theirs is a little more subtle. Mine's very literal. It looks as if I've stuck a skull onto here and just covered it with tissue paper. This is actually after a second round of like tweaking and adding little bits, because the tissue paper just kept ripping apart. But I don't think it's too bad. It's not really what I was expecting, but it's fine. It just looks a bit like, I don't know, like naff. And this cost me around about £13 to make, which I don't think is too bad. And I suppose obviously you could have it like hung on a wall or something, couldn't you? And have like a collection of them. And they would look quite cool in the right space, but I don't know, I don't love it. Okay, and before we move on to the next Halloween craft, now there's something weird happening. So I don't know whether my phone's listening to us.
I told you not to hang up on me.
I know this is a weird thing to talk about, and it's literally just popped up again there when I was scrolling through my phone. But I was talking to my dad the other day about, he was wanting like this wood burning stove in the kitchen, and he was like blabbering on to us about it. And anyway, now I'm getting loads of adverts for wood burning stoves, and I haven't searched for them or anything, and they keep popping up, and I don't understand how that's possible. How does my phone know I was talking about it, or I was interested? Well, I wasn't interested, but I was being spoken to about wood burning stoves when I haven't searched for it myself. What is happening? Technology is taking over. I'm sure it listened to my conversation, which is terrifying because I say some crazy shit. Stop listening to us. Just need to get that off my chest because stressful, very stressful. But anyway, let's move on to the next craft. So I thought we'd try the little painted Halloween ghost in a frame picture decoration next. And I bought this lovely ornate gold frame online, which I think looks very kind of gothic, very Halloweeny. And it also has this lady in, and I have absolutely no idea who this lady is. So if you know who this lady is, let me know in the comments below. But I didn't need the lady because I'm going to replace her with a ghost, so I took her out the frame. But I did use a picture to trace around on this orange coloured patterned paper, which I thought would look really cool and kind of contrasted quite nicely with the ghost. And once I'd done that, I decided to sketch the ghost out for once in my life, rather than just going straight in with some paint, just so I knew where everything was going to go. I then filled in my ghost shape with some white acrylic paint, and once that paint had fully dried, it was looking like this, and this was after 3 coats of white acrylic paint. That's how much it took to cover this orange paper, which was obviously a mistake on my behalf, but I really wanted this pattern. Every time I did another coat and it dried, I could still see the orange through it, but it's all going to be worth it. Definitely going to be worth it. And now it's just time to add in some detail with some black acrylic paint, and then finally cut it out and let it dry. So we have expectation and reality. And I think I've done a really good job actually. I really like mine. I don't think mine is too far off the original paint. Obviously when we get up close you can see that I'm not particularly amazing at hand painting. Like I said before, it's a little bit messy. But other than that, I think it's really cool, really cute and absolutely adorable. And like I would 100% have this just like hanging up on my wall. Or I could just kind of place it down and just have it as like a little table decoration. And I think all I needed to buy for this was the frame. I think I had everything else, but I can't remember how much the frame cost us. Oh, that frame was expensive. I can't remember spending that much.
Because you were drunk?
So in total, this cost me £17.59 because for some reason I got carried away and bought like the most expensive frame I could possibly find. I could easily do this for half the price if I shopped around for a frame. I don't know why I spent so much money. Did I have too much wine?
Obviously.
I might have had too much wine and had like a, you know, online shopping, drink the wine kind of night, and that's what happens when I drink too much wine. But it was worth it and I absolutely love it and I think I've done a really good job. Okay, so finally I thought we'd try and make the little terrarium thing, and I've got my little brass terrarium here which I think looks exactly the same as the original. But how cool is that? That's well nice. Okay, and the first step they've done is put some sand in the bottom. So I bought myself some white sand. Oh, it's double bagged.
Fancy.
In you go. Perfect. Shall I add decorations first or shall I add some, actually I'll add some of this stuff. So I bought some fake moss, and it is actually fake moss this time. I know last time I thought I bought fake moss and it turned out to be real moss. This is definitely artificial. It wants to be. It was advertised as fake. Is this real? I can't tell. No, it's fake. It has to be fake. It smells like rubber. I don't know. I don't know what I've bought. This could be real moss, but it could also be fake moss. I have no idea. I'm pretty sure it's fake. It has to be. I'm not gonna lie. I think mine's gonna look really good, you know. Okay, and then we'll work on the back first. So they had some orange trees. I've bought a pack of trees. I don't know whether you can tell, but I've put in a lot of effort with these crafts. I know I don't normally, and usually I half-ass everything, but this time, I think because it's Halloween, I've put so much effort in.
We are so proud of you.
But like, how cool are them? They are so cute. I think these are made for like little train sets and stuff, but for me, this is a Halloween decoration. And yous are gonna go right in the back. You're a bit low down, but that's okay. Their trees look way better than mine, I've just realised. Never mind. Oh, and as well with this, I was looking for like little plastic tombstones on the internet just to save us like having to make something. And they were all ridiculously expensive to the point where I was like, I am not spending that amount of money on them. So I put some effort in. Again, I told you I'm putting all the effort in, and I decided to make my own tombstones.
Groundbreaking.
So I just bought this ice cube mold online, which is obviously in the shape of a tombstone, and decided to pour in some of the aquacast stuff mixed in with a bit of black mica powder and just let them set. And I've got them here and they look absolutely amazing. Like, how cool are these? I think they're a bit too big for this terrarium, but still, this was way cheaper than actually buying them. I think to buy a set of little plastic tombstones, it was going to set us back about £20, and I was just like, no, that's not happening. So if I try and shove these into here and try and bury them a little bit down because they are quite large. And then I've got a pack of pumpkins, and unfortunately these are huge, so I'm a little bit concerned about putting these in. That's my smallest one, so I might use that one. And you know what, it's come with some acorns, and I might stick some of these in too. Where the hell am I going to fit this pumpkin? It is massive. You know what, I might shove the pumpkin at the back there just so it doesn't look as huge. And then also, when I bought my terrarium, it came with a little owl, and I hadn't planned on obviously featuring an owl, but since it's arrived with this, I thought, oh, I may as well put it in, it's cute. So I think I'm going to stick my little owl right at the front here. And I think I might be done. You know what? I think I've done excellent work. But we have expectation and reality. And obviously theirs looks way better in kind of scale-wise than mine does. Mine looks, I don't know, a little bit flat, and things are definitely out of proportion, especially when it comes to like the trees, tombstones, and the pumpkin. But I still think mine looks super cute. And then let's do like a full 360. Look at that. That is fab. And the best thing about this, obviously terrariums usually have living things in. Nothing's gonna die in this one. I can rest. I cannot be stressed out that everything's gonna die because it's all made of like plastic and stuff. But let's find out how much this cost us, because I know for a fact I spent a fortune. I definitely got carried away. So don't be alarmed when I tell you how much I spent, because in total I spent £63.87 for all the stuff I needed for this. However, I only used a fraction of certain things, so I think in total this probably cost me about £32 to make. Still quite expensive, and I knew it was going to be expensive for what it is, but I don't know, I think it's kind of worth it. I would have obviously liked it a lot more if it only cost us a tenner, but still, I don't hate it. At least I've spent a lot of money on something that I actually like, rather than a lot of money on something that I hate, which I've done in the past, so this is a win. That just about does it for today's Halloween special of the Blind Pinterest Challenge. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And let me know down in the comments which one was your favourite Halloween craft. Honestly, for me, I think I kind of liked them all. Apart from the tissue paper skull. For some reason, that just wasn't doing it for us. But anyway, I'll see you next week for the final Halloween video of this month. Shall I give you a little bit of a hint? That's the only hint you're gonna get. It might be a bit sexy. There's so many bits of feather coming off this, it's unreal. It's not very well made. I didn't make this, but it's like fun. I like clacking it. There's a little incentive for you. Subscribe so you don't miss out on all of this.